The English-speaking Cameroonians are at what I call the inflection point. The inflection point. That is, the English-speaking Cameroonians are at that point in their evolution that if they tilt to the right direction, make the right decision, choose wisely who they listen to, they will emerge victorious, they will emerge successful, they will experience abundance in Africa that no other nation in Africa has been able to experience that level of growth. So I call that the inflection point. That point where you arrive and you have two choices and you have to make a decision instantly, and that will determine how the outcome of your life will look like the next day, and you choose the right thing. That is an inflection point. Have you ever asked yourself the question, what makes great nations? What makes America great? What makes Canada great? What makes Britain great? All of those nations that we see emerge and experience enormous transformation, and we desire to travel and live in those nations. Today, I'm going to be breaking down for you the pillars of national development. The pillars that if you follow, you will get the same results in your nation. The pillars that if we follow, we will get the same result in Cameroon, in the English-speaking part of Cameroon. There are certain pillars of national development that ensures that a nation emerges prosperous. I want to start by reading a verse that I found in this book that I was reading. The title of the book is Enough is Enough. You see, and the subtitle is A Call to Christian Involvement by Rick Scarborough. I mean, this is an amazing book. And so I just want to read this very introduction of this chapter in page 97 of this book. It reads, "Stop trusting the man who has but breath in his nostrils. Of what account is he? See now the Lord Almighty is about to take from Jerusalem and Judah both supply and support." That is Isaiah chapter 2, verse 22. Okay, so it says, do not trust a man that has but breath in his nostrils, because they've lived and they have died and they are gone. But what remains constant is God's word. What remains constant is principles. What remains constant are fundamentals. What remains constant are timeless, proven secrets that ensures national development, that you can build a nation and let your children grow up and experience exponential support, exponential success, consistently, sustainable growth, sustainable development. So the pillars of national development. One of the things that you realize from most wealthy nations is that they have the philosophy of one people. You might have different political parties in America. We might have the red and the blue. That is the Democrats and the Republicans. And that is something that most people in Africa don't understand, because the people that show up in Africa mostly come from the Democrats. They come from the left. And these people have certain ideologies. They are liberal. You see what I'm saying? Everything goes. They accept gay, they accept lesbianism, they accept anything that you feel like you want to do. They said, yes, it is welcome here. So those people belong to the left. And then we have the right, they are conservatives. And these people, they say no to many things. They're like, okay, this is how our culture is supposed to look like. This is how our nation is supposed to behave. And these principles ensures that they have what we call sustainable development. So why am I mentioning this? Because someone in Africa might say, that is how Americans behave. Americans dress like this. Maybe when you see a short mini skirt, a girl is half naked, you think, oh, that is the culture of America. And you say, okay, yes, let's embrace this. One thing you don't understand about America or the West is that most of the conservatives, They don't have initiatives of going out there to Africa to maybe preach some of those ideologies that the left believed in. And so today you get to know that America has a right and they have a left. Why you see this nation successful is because of the combination of both. But it is good to be liberal to an extent, that you welcome new ideas. That is good. But you select the ideas that you welcome into your nation, because it can turn out to be a very, very crucial factor that will ensure that you do not succeed in what you set your mind to do. So what I'm teaching right here will work for your life as well. You see what I'm saying? So it's not only the pillars of national development, it is also the pillars of personal development. You see what I'm saying? You can apply this to your personal life, because when you hear a nation, it's not just about that nation. It's about the individuals that live in that nation. And so what you do in your private life, in your personal life, and then what we do at the level of a community, and then what we do at the level of a nation. So does that make sense? Yes. So it's very important that you understand. So one thing that regardless of the beliefs, regardless of the liberal thinking, regardless of the conservative thinking, Americans understand that they pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. So which means they have certain beliefs that even if you are liberal, they are fundamental principles that ensures the success of this nation that everybody acquiesces to. So if we want to build Cameroon, I'm not saying you look at America and you just want to pick everything that America does, but what are the things that America is doing that aligns with the word of God? You've heard from the book of Isaiah chapter 2 verse 22, and it says, do not trust a man that has but breath in his nostrils. And what happens? When you put your trust in such leaders, it turns out to be you following someone that doesn't even know what they are doing, or that will not even live forever. And so, but God's timeless word is what we need for our own transformation. Does that make sense? So the most important thing is understanding these pillars. So number one is one people. So for a nation to be successful, they have to have the national sense of unity, like one people, right? Like national unity. You guys need to be one. And if there's certain areas within your community, within your village, within your country, that does not ensure that you achieve this goal of being one people, you guys are going to struggle. So one people, that's number one, one people. Number two is one language. When the people speak as one, understand each other. Like if you hear about the Jewish language, you know it's Hebrew, right? It's Hebrew, you know it's Hebrew language. That is one language. The Israelites, they speak one language, and that is Hebrew, and is consistent, right? So one language. In Cameroon, we have English and French. But also there are other tribal languages within Cameroon that is also a contributing factor to our own demise. So one language is very, very important that you note all of these things that I'm talking about. Number one is one region. So if it's Texas, like where I live, it's one state. If you travel to Texas, you know Texas, we call ourselves the Lone Star State. So right here in Texas, they set themselves apart from every other state in the nation, and they call themselves the Lone Star State. And there are certain practices and certain beliefs and certain cultural beliefs that you can't practice here in Texas. There are certain attitudes or characters that you cannot exhibit that here in Texas. It's a no-no. This is a very conservative state. It's a red state. So one region, there's a unity right here in Texas. And if you're driving into Texas, you probably see it on the flag, or you see it on the signpost or something. It says, do not mess with Texas. That is real. Okay, and then the next thing is one God, right? That's the last. One God. One people, one language, one region, one God. When you guys have this, you are unstoppable. When you understand these pillars of national development, you are unstoppable. So that is why I look at what works, and I've gone into my Bible and I look at every scripture that confirms this. It is evident that the reality cannot be avoided. One people, one language, one region, and one God. Failure to observe these pillars indicates that you will fail in developing a nation. You will fail in developing your own life. If you are not united among yourself, you will fail. If you're not united among the family, you will fail in the family. You see what I'm saying? You might have one or two people that decide to take a different direction, have a certain belief system, and they will succeed, but you will not. One people. The next is one language. When you guys don't speak and understand as one, if you cannot communicate even within yourself and understand that you have a unity of purpose, a unity of direction, a unity of passion, if you don't have that, you will fail. One region. This is like you see your hands and my eyes and my legs and everything that I have in my body cooperates to ensure that I succeed. So these are different factors within my body that align with a goal. Like for instance, I came here to do this video to inspire you, to give you direction, to give you knowledge and perspective. My entire body collaborated in this process. That is why my hands are active, because the words that I'm triggering out of my mouth, you see, align with my body. And so that is why I can act the way I do, and you can feel this unity of purpose. Because why? This entire region, which is my body, aligns with the vision of which is what I'm teaching to you right now. So guys, one God. You must have one God that you believe in. You can't shortcut that. You cannot have other gods and believe in the one God. You cannot have tradition and believe in the one God. You cannot believe in your ancestor and still believe in the one God. It doesn't work that way. So it's one God. And when a people decide to follow this template, there is no way you can't achieve national development. Now, I'm going to outline the impediments. What are some of the things that are hindering factors that will prevent people from achieving one people, one language, one region, one God? And when I talk about one God, I'm talking about the Christ in you. Not some version of God that you've been hearing your whole life, but the real, authentic God. The God that is one. He is God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. Any other version of God is not what I'm talking about here. So that is it, guys. I've taught this many times, and I think I'll say it again before I get into the breakdown of the factors or some of the hindrances that we will face, is to understand this particular this section right here. If you want to be successful in life, you want to be successful as a nation, Tony Robbins actually coins out the principle that you can help achieve this, right? So you can achieve this. There are three ways through which you can be able to model success. Okay, so Tony Robbins says number one is the belief system. If you want to be successful, look for someone that has been successful at what you want to be successful at, and then you copy three things. Number one, he says their belief system. Copy the people's belief system. Without that, you will fail. Some people go and they copy maybe their physiology, or they copy their cars, or they copy their money, or they copy their houses, but they forget to copy the belief system. And what produces everything that you desire in that nation is their belief system. What actually help Americans to achieve the great success that we admire so much is their belief system. The great vehicles, the cars, the phones, the television, everything that you've desired from America came out of that belief system. And that belief system is rooted in the Judea belief system, the God belief system. And that is why you see America is successful at what they do. And also they believe they will succeed. Why? Because God backs them up, because God is for them. And so if you have that belief system, there is no way that you will lose at anything that you set your mind to. I will not lose in most of the things that I do in my life. Why? Because I look at those who have succeeded and I copy their belief system. He said number two, copy their physiology. You copy their physiology. How do they move? How do they carry themselves? How do they dress? How do they present themselves around the world? And it is very important that you copy their physiology. We fail to see this. You can try to mix this up with your belief system, and that's why you don't get it, right? Imagine that you want to erect a house, and all of a sudden you put 2 bags of, we know that maybe 3 wheelbarrows of sand is equal to 1 bag of cement. And then you put 1.5 wheelbarrow of sand, and then you mix that sand with 1.5 wheelbarrow of soil. You mix that together, and then you mix the cement. You can actually construct and erect a good house, right? The principle is basic. 3 wheelbarrows of sand is equals to 1 bag of cement. You follow that, you get a result, a strong house is erected, then we're good to go. So copy their physiology, copy how they do things. You see what I'm saying? Like in Africa, we believe in pan-Africanism, we believe in this and pan-Africanism. Oh, let's stop the whites here. We don't want the whites here. And all of those ideologies does not align with what you see working in America, that you want it to happen for you in Africa or in Cameroon or in English-speaking part of Cameroon. So physiology. The last thing he said is syntax. Copy their language. One thing you observe about rich people is that they speak a certain way, they act a certain way. We behave a totally different way compared to the rest of the people, and that is what I wanted to outline for you. And then when it comes to the case of what we are dealing with in the English speaking part of Cameroon, we have a means and we have ends, right? End is what you want to achieve. A means is how you want to achieve what you intend to achieve. You see what I'm saying? So today we will hear about cessation. We'll hear about other leaders fighting among themselves. And you see different ideologies emerging because why? They've exchanged the means for the end. The end is good roads, good schools, good jobs, and all of that, but they've exchanged the means. They think cessation is the end, whereas the end is for us to have the abundance that we want. And that is what I'm teaching right here, so that you can understand the strategies, the principles, and how you can get there. So let's not forget this. It's the same with your life. And if you fail to prioritize the ends over the means, you will see different directions that will help you to achieve success, and you will neglect them because you have made the means the end. Is this making sense? Okay, so guys, why am I saying all of this? Guys, because if you are not successful right now as a nation, why English-speaking Cameroonians are not successful, or why we have not achieved the goals that we've set for ourselves, why we are not growing, why we are not becoming all that God wanted us to be. There are three reasons, guys, and it goes to your personal life as well. You see, we have the poor, we have the middle class, and we have the rich. These are three groups of people. They exist in every nation. And if you look at it, there are nations like that as well. We have the America, we have the China, and then we have Africa. So what is the difference between these three groups of people? They think differently. So we have the poor, we have the middle class, and then we have the rich. This is the difference. The poor person thinks differently about money compared to how the middle class thinks about money compared to what the rich thinks about money. See, the poor person thinks money is to pay bills. So when they get money, they think of what can I pay for? What can I pay for that I owe? Pay bills, pay electricity bill, pay water bill, pay their rent. So the poor man believes that money is to pay bills. This is a different kind of human being, and they think differently. And so they are wired, their belief system, right, is conditioned to think that money is designed to pay bills. And so no matter what you tell them, they're thinking about the bills that they have to pay with the money that they have, or the money that they will make from their job. And then we have the middle class. This is an interesting group of people. The middle class are the group of people that believe in good credit, or the kind of people that will make money and buy depreciating liabilities. You see what I'm saying? They buy depreciating liabilities. Those are the kind of people that buy the things that they don't need to please the people that don't even care about them. You see what I'm saying? And yes, you want to impress people, but you buy stuffs that are depreciating in value. They are not asset generating or income generating asset. Rather, they are liabilities. For instance, you buy a Rolls Royce and you know that the monthly payment of a Rolls Royce maybe is approximately $4,000. And then you are buying a Rolls Royce knowing that you are making just maybe $5,000 a month. You have to pay your mortgage or you have to pay your rent, and then you have to leave, you have to feed, and you go get a vehicle that is worth $4,000 a month for payment. It doesn't make no sense. So these are the middle class people. Some of them get a house that they cannot afford, or a house that at the end of the day, all of their money for the month goes towards rent. So that is the middle class. They understand that money is to get good credit so they can buy stuff and impress people. And then we have the rich. The difference between the poor, the middle class, and the rich is that the rich believe that the purpose of money is to create money. That is, the purpose of money is to get assets, and those assets will generate income. Does that make sense? And so they take money out of their asset, and that is what they buy stuff with, and they write that off in their taxes. You see that? That makes sense? Yeah, so they buy stuffs that they can actually write off in tax. But that is not the case here with the middle class or the poor. Am I making sense so far? So guys, it's very important that you choose where you want to belong. The most important thing about life is that we have choices. And you can choose to either be broke or you can choose to be rich. You can choose to be a middle class or you can choose to be rich. You have the choice. Is that all I need to do? Yes, it's that simple. All you have to do is choose. And this is what you do, guys. The first thing for you to move from a poor or a middle class individual to rich person is to understand how we the rich people think. We think differently. We approach the world differently. We look at problems differently. We see, I just want to say, there's a quote about the Chinese people. The Chinese people label problems opportunity. That is, when they see problem, they see opportunity. And this is why it is hard because when the rich man spends the middle class person, when they spend money, it's really painful. And why? When they spend money, you know why? Because the money came out of their sweat. It came out of the time they exchanged for that money. And so it is very, very painful for a middle class person or a poor person when they spend money, when they buy something. But for the rich, we structure things a little bit different. And so when we buy stuff, guess what? We write them off in taxes, or they are income generating assets. And that is the difference. Does that make sense? So guys, with that being said, how do you move from here to here? How do you move from being poor to being rich? How do you move from being a middle class individual to becoming a rich individual? It is simple, guys. It starts with this mindset. Mindset. How do you move from a poor nation to a very prosperous nation? Mindset. How do you move from a poor person to becoming extremely successful? Mindset. The mindset is how you think, and it goes back to the beliefs. This person doesn't have the same belief system like you. The rich person doesn't have the same belief systems like the poor do. So the mindset is everything. Mindset is how you think, how you act, how you process data, how you process information. You see what I'm saying? It's very important, guys. The next thing is skill set. And these are the pillars from you moving here to achieving rich, which is what I want all of us to get to. So the next thing is going to be skill set. What can you do? What can you do to produce income? What kind of skills do you have? Do you know how to code? Do you know how to operate the machine? Do you know how to sell? Do you know how to negotiate? Do you know how to write a book? All of these are skill sets. Can you operate a restaurant? So all of that is skill set. And then the next is tool set. In other words, mindset plus skill set plus tool set equal asset. I repeat that again. Mindset plus skill set plus tool set equals to asset, and then the assets generate income, and it's going to take you right here, and you will become extremely rich. So without the right mindset, without the right skill set, without the right tool set and asset, you can't become rich. So tool set has to do with the tools that you need to succeed, right? For instance, if I know how to run a restaurant and I don't have maybe restaurant equipment, I don't have the food that I need to cook to serve to the people, guess what? I cannot be able to create or generate asset. Does that make sense? But if I have the tools that I need, I'll be able to achieve the asset, which will enabling me becoming rich. This is the caveat, guys. If you have the right skill set and you don't have the right mindset, you can't be rich. If you have the right tool set, that's why some people are skilled. You see them, they're smart. They do things and you can like, oh wow, this person knows what they're doing, but they are not getting this. They are not becoming rich. Because why? They don't have the right mindset. Africans travel abroad, they buy cars, buy houses, they come back home, they throw a party, but you don't see the community growing. You don't see emerging rich people from that community. Why? Because they don't have the right mindset. And if there's anything that we'll get from America is the mindset. And which is what I've been mining for years now, is to get the right mindset. How do the rich people think? How do rich people process information. So if you get the right mindset, guys, you will find the skill set, you'll find the tool set, you get the asset, and then you become rich. But if you have the right tool set and yet you don't have the right mindset, you will still fail. That's why you see a good mechanic, but he's not rich. You see a good carpenter, but yet he is not rich. You see a guy with a degree in coding, but he is not rich. A guy has a software engineering degree, but he is not rich. Why? Because he doesn't have the right mindset. The right mindset is everything. Okay? So this will help develop your nation. When a nation thinks as one, having the right mindset, having one language, having one region, one God, they will ensure success. So what am I saying? Guys, mindset is huge to everything that you ever do in your life. There is a story about lions, fascinating animals, very strong. But one thing that you realize about lions is that they are not the fastest animals in the jungle. They are not the biggest animals in the jungle. They are not the smartest animal in the jungle. But what makes the lion so formidable that every other animal in the jungle runs away, including the elephant that is this huge, runs away from the lion? It's mindset. Mindset. That is why every animal in the jungle respects the lion. They believe that they will win. And when you look at Americans, that is the energy. They believe that they will win. They were called to win. There is the American dream. Everything is possible. First step, get your feet to America, and then every other thing will align. Elon Musk left South Africa, came to America, and he's blazing a trail with electric cars. Mindset is huge to your own development. Is this making sense so far? Guys, so when you understand that, I just want to say this. Right now, the English-speaking Cameroonians are at what I call the inflection point. The inflection point. That is, the English-speaking Cameroonians are at that point in their evolution that if they tilt to the right direction, make the right decision, choose wisely who they listen to, they will emerge victorious, they will emerge successful, they will experience abundance in Africa that no other nation in Africa has been able to experience that level of growth. So I call that the inflection point. That point where you arrive and you have two choices and you have to make a decision instantly, and that will determine how the outcome of your life will look like the next day, and you choose the right thing. That is an inflection point. The point in your life where you have to make critical decisions. This is where we find ourselves. That is why people have been dying for the past 7 years. We are at what I call the inflection point. Pillars of national development. Now, let me break this down. Guys, this is our impediment. And God has revealed this to me, and that is why I do these lectures. And I just want to break that for you so that you can understand. I want to break it down for you. So this is our impediment. Tribal language. France, America, Britain had tribes, had native doctors like us. Italy, Rome, at some point they had native doctors like us, and they realized that the tribes are going to hinder their national development, and they got rid of all the tribes, knowing that it will foster unity and they will achieve development. And so they got rid of the tribes. Some of them by force, and if you speak any other language in America at some point other than English, you were punished or killed. It was an inflection point in their evolution, and they made that decision. And I'm saying, English-speaking Cameroon, you guys are at an inflection point. Inflection point. So they got rid of the tribal languages. I said what? If you find someone who's successful, copy their beliefs, their physiology, and their syntax. So what worked for them? They eliminated every tribe and tribal languages within their communities. Number two, we have fonts and chiefs, and most of these people get to power not based on competence but based on birthright. And so they eliminated all their fonts and all their chiefs at their evolution. So what did they do? They eliminated that and turned all of their palaces into museums. They did not burn those things, they kept them so that they can look at it at some point in their evolution and say, this is how far we've come, and they can take their children to those museums and show them what their parents used to believe in. Today we still believe in these things, and I want to say that is what Britain did, that is what France did, that is what America did at that point of their evolution. That is why democracy cannot work in Africa, because we have these beliefs that we have, and then we want to take democracy because we like all the beautiful things that we admire in the West. We want to take that democracy and feed it in, and sometimes we'll even cite China. And just to mind, China speaks one language. It's huge. They have one language. And China would have not made progress if they did not adopt capitalist ideas. They took those philosophies and infused them in their system, and that is why they are having the degree of success. It has not yet lasted, right? China is still young in their growth journey, and they have not yet, like let's say in the next 100 years, and then we will tell. You see what I'm saying? So when, instead of me looking at China right now, I won't do that. You know why? Because they are still growing. The success of China is not more than 50 years. You see what I'm saying? But you look at what works. That is why we look at everything. At the end of the day, we go back to the Bible because it is the oldest and has timeless principles that will always work in every dispensation. And that is the reason. That is how I make my judgments. Okay? You will see somebody like Warren Buffett, a great investor here in America. There are some stocks that came during the dot-com bubble, and he said, I'm not going to invest in it. Many people lost their money during the dot-com bubble in America. And a smart investor like that said, I will always invest in what works. I will invest in Coca-Cola. I will invest in those companies that have never failed me. And I know that people will always need these products. They will always need food. They will always need drinks. I know these products, they work. I'll invest in insurance. And so he invested in those industries. The next thing is they got rid of their soothsayers, and they don't believe in them anymore. They got rid of all their native doctors and all the people that are setting up confusion within their communities. And they got rid of all of those soothsayers. That is what these nations did at their level of development, at that stage of their development, and they did exactly that. And so what? Copy their beliefs, copy their physiology, copy their syntax. The last thing that we will see is decentralization. They are not centered in one place. I live here in Texas. One thing you realize within Texas is that if you drive 5 miles from my home, you're going to meet a small city, and 5 miles from my home, from that place, you will see another city. So they have cities. So the whole system is decentralized. We have little shops and stores in different corners of the city, and that is very important for you to note that that cannot happen if the community is centralized. If you look at a place like Northwest, it's like what you see in Bamenda. You cannot see that in other places, say Bowie and other areas within the Northwest. And you ask, but why? And somebody say, oh, because we don't have roads to go there. I mean, that could be a good reason. But when you have the beliefs, the mindset of decentralization, and the way you behave and carry yourself reflects that development will come. Nothing can beat the mind of someone that is determined to succeed, determined to see change. And that is very important. So the pillars. So what is our impediment? The tribal language, the fonts and chiefs, the native doctors, and then we need to ensure that we have a decentralized system. So I don't know if this makes sense to you so far. Do you understand what I've just taught right here? One people, the pillars of national development, one language, one region, and one God. You will succeed no matter what they put on your way, no matter how they try to hinder your growth. One people, one language, one region, one God. You will make it. Beliefs, physiology, syntax. Prioritize the end over the means. Right here, move from thinking as a poor person to thinking as a rich person. Let your money be producing babies for you. Let your money be producing money for you. Money is designed to produce more money. That is how we, the rich people, think. We take money and then we get that money to make more money for us. We don't take money, we buy stuff that cannot produce more money, and then we are stuck right here. So we take money, we let it produce money. So anytime I get $1, I get $100, I'm looking at how that $100 can produce $200, how that $200 can produce $400. So money for me is an asset generating or income generating tool. Remember, money is an income generating tool. You take the money, you get an asset that can produce you more money. You take the money, you buy a house, you put it out for rent, it's producing more money. You take the money, you buy a car, you put it on the road as a taxi, it's producing more money. You take the money, you invest it in your business, it's producing more money. So that is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about you understanding the purpose of an asset. Asset is something that generates income. So mindset, skill set, tool set equals to asset. Mindset, skill set, tool set equals to asset, and then you become successful and rich, and no one can be able to stop you. Guys, at this point, I just want to let you guys know this is juice. This is good stuff. Come back to this video again and again and understand this principle and what I have taught. Now, I want to say it is the responsibility of every English Cameroon, or every English Cameroonian rather, it is the responsibility of every English-speaking Cameroonian to enforce these principles. This is time for you to start saying no more speaking of tribal language in the city, in the marketplace, in our communities. We have to make sure that we sacrifice this generation for the next generation. We sacrifice in this generation and build pillars that will ensure that we achieve sustainable growth by eliminating. This is a non-negotiable. No more tribal language in our cities, in our communities, in our gatherings. We don't want any tribal language anymore, and you enforce that, and the Amber Boys can help for that. We quit speaking our tribal languages because it's not helping us. It's not enforcing unity. It's not helping us to unite. It's not helping us to grow. It only brings division, confusion among us. We say we will eliminate all of these forms. They are not elected, or they don't come to power based on competence, but based on birthright. That doesn't work. We want people that are competent to lead our communities and be able to direct us towards the right path. And so we need competent people and not fonts and chiefs. We don't want native doctors. Why? These people bring about confusion. There's none of you've gone to a native doctor and they don't tell you that the cause of your problem is as a result of your parents or your siblings. And so they said confusion. And some people right now, they still go there and try to ask questions about things that has to do with what, if they follow the right direction, they will get success, but yet they go here to appease their conscience and don't put in the work, and then be surprised after 60 years why they are where they are. So decentralization, when you're closed, you don't grow. You got to expand to grow. So I just want to repeat this again so it sinks that this is a non-negotiable. And God is saying, if I will bless you guys got to get rid of all your gods. You cannot have me and have other gods. And that's what God is saying to us. So you have to be willing to put in the effort to eliminate all these things. And if we do that, we will achieve success in the next 2 years. In the next 2 years, if you do that, we will have international support. Because as you work on these things, to eliminate these things and ensure that we have national unity, I'm going to be working on my path with America, with Britain, and with Canada to bring about liberation for the people of the English-speaking zone of Cameroon. So I repeat, you guys got to do your part. And it includes you sharing this video so that this message should get into the hearts and the minds of every inhabitant, both young and old, in the English-speaking part of Cameroon. And as you do that, I'll play my part by making sure that before you get rid of this in the next 2 years, we'll have the support of the West and we will have the problems that we are dealing with in Cameroon resolved. If not, God is saying in the next 7 years is going to be worse than what we are experiencing right now. It is going to be worse in the next 7 years. The past 7 years, we think we've seen something. No, it's going to be worse in the next 7 years. People are going to die mercilessly. And not only that, some of the leaders that are championing the movements in America will start dying. They will start killing each other right in the diaspora. That is where it is leading. And God is saying, if you don't hear my voice, we don't need people electing themselves as president right now. We need visionaries. We need people that have the people's interests at heart and wants to help them to succeed. So that is what we need at this stage of our development. So if everything that I've said here makes sense, go right now and apply them in your personal life and apply them in your community. It's very important. What we will use to transform Northwest and Southwest is what I term systematic change. Not war. There's war and there's systematic change. Systematic change is hard, but I like it. It's a challenge. But with God, all things are possible. Wars are easy, but they are short-term solutions to a long-term problem. So we want sustainable solution. We want something that will last. And so we'll go with systematic change. And that is what I'm teaching to you right now. So guys, it is very, very important that you understand all of this. Take a picture of it if you can. Take a look at it. If you don't understand, you can ask me some questions in the chat. We will clarify you on anything on this chat, on this board, if you don't understand. So this is the pillars to national development, the pillars of national development: one people, one language, one region, one God. I love you guys so much, and until next time, stay blessed. All right, if you like this video, you're gonna like this other episode, and you can watch it by clicking right here.